my pieces on this prestigious program, he asked if I would consider performing and also telling you a little about myself. Since he did not specify which myself he would like you to meet, I will try to tell you a little something about each of me. I thought it best to write this down to avoid creating any more of me. You know how it is with us creative types. First of all, I was born in Ames, Iowa, and named Peter Shickley. I grew up in Washington, D.C. and Fargo, North Dakota. I've always liked to do things a little differently. I was the only music major in my graduating class at Swarthmore College, not to mention the only bassoonist in Fargo, North Dakota. Perhaps that is why I now feel that I must advocate for bassoonists of the world. One of my most recently released recordings includes Blues Set No. 2 for 4 bassoons played by the Bassoon Brothers. I know this is not to be a commercial, but see me afterwards, after this concert, for more details. Back to my life. Let me see. From Swarthmore College, I went to a small music school in New York. I don't know if you've heard of it, the Juilliard. Yes. I graduated with a master's degree in 1960 and also studied with Persichetti and Mio. I think he really liked cats. I even taught at Juilliard from 1961 to 1965. Shortly after Juilliard, I discovered PDQ Bach. You have this information in your program notes. Discovering this long-lost son of Bach was like discovering a long-lost part of myself. I felt I truly understood this fictitious character as if I had created him myself. Finally, someone whose music exposed the humor so present, yet not admitted in the normal, well, many professional musicians be normal? Perhaps I should say the typical musician's life. Such works as PDQ Bach, 1712 Overture, and other musical assaults. 2 pianos are better than one. In My 9 Lives, Sneak Deep and the Wolf, or The Last Tango in Bayreuth, and oh yes, the Short-Tempered Clavier and other dysfunctional works for keyboard. These pieces really spoke to me, or perhaps for me. Perhaps, just perhaps, I had become PDQ Bach. No, that could not be. I mustn't stoop to stealing the fame of this poor, forgotten son of Bach, who has finally come into his own. It must remain my duty to continue to discover his works, even if I have to write them myself. Thank you for your attention. We will now hear one of his significant works. You think I'm making that up? The Short-Tempered Clavier. I will quote my own introduction to this manuscript. The STC, as insiders call it, is an astonishingly complete summation not only of PDQ Bach's life and art, but also of the entire force of 18th century European music. In this all-encompassing work, this most misunderstood composer in the history of Western music does not just give us a few scattered, fragmentary glimpses of his inner being, rather he bears his hopes, his fears, and faith in toto. And whether or not he had a good idea to put one's faith in a dog, it was a faith that enabled its holder to look deep into the mirror of his soul. You know, Toto, Wizard of Oz, Toto. It was a faith that enabled its holder to look deep into the mirror of his soul and say, hey, why shouldn't I write a great big humongous piece? I mean, what's the big deal? It's just a matter of putting one note after the other. You keep doing that long enough, you got yourself one great big humongous piece. And the rest of us, be we rich or poor, rural or urban, college educated or real, The rest of us,